Assalamu alaikum guys. Hey guys, it's Manardo back with another video. Today I'm coming in with a short video. Remember I told you guys that I'll be sharing some of my experience and what I've been researching on fasting, and today's that video. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and also share this video if you guys find the information helpful and informative as well as entertaining. So stay tuned. Okay, so just a little disclaimer, if you guys have gastric issues or problems, you might want to make sure that you know how your body works first. You want to make sure that you actually maybe consult a doctor before fasting. And with that being said, let's go. In many traditions, fasting is known as the activity of withdrawing yourself or holding or abstaining yourself from either taking in any food, any forms of liquid or water, or just both in general for a certain amount of time. Now, there are many types of fasting out there in the world that has been practiced for a few centuries, a few millennium, I guess, ago, as well as by a few different religions and also cultures in the world. Now, I'll be sharing with you the top three types of fasting that are very popular nowadays, but not the only ones that are here in the world today. So the first one that we have would be intermittent fasting. Now, what intermittent fasting is basically an individual or a person holds themselves from eating or drinking food for a certain amount of time, and the time frame usually lasts between 12 to 16 hours. Sometimes it can even go more, maybe to 20 or 30 hours. Now, most of the time, in order to apply this in your diet or in your lifestyle, most people do it overnight. So means to say, after 7 p.m, let's say you're not planning to eat anymore, and that will be your last meal for the day until 7 a.m. the next day. You can also extend this to a few more hours, maybe to 11 a.m, or if you want to go the extra mile, maybe 1 p.m. Now, I've never done this kind of fasting before, so I can't say from personal experience, but from researching and reading through some online articles, it is a very good form of fasting in which it gives you better stamina, it gives your gut a better time to rest, and this goes for most types of fasting as well. Now, the second type of fasting out there is also the warrior diet. So this type of fasting is a more modern new age of fasting, where people take in food but not of all kinds. So a warrior diet usually consists of taking in slow carbs such as oats, quinoa, brown rice, and also making sure that you get enough, if not more, of vegetables, vitamins, proteins, and making sure that you reduce or not taking any processed sugars or fats. Now, this warrior diet can also be incorporated with the new style of diets out there, maybe for people who are pescatarians, vegetarians, vegans, or people who are also just trying to live the keto diet. Now, the third type of fasting, the one that I personally have experience with, is dry fasting. So what dry fasting is basically a form of fasting that where one abstains themselves from eating and also drinking for about 16 hours a day. So usually, as a Muslim, dry fasting starts before the sunrise, or in our case we call it as Fajr, um, and we eat before that. During that time, the time of sahur, we actually try to eat lots of nutritious food, such as slow carbs, oats, quinoa, dates, the ones that give us energy throughout the day and slowly release the energy, while also trying to take some good protein in and also some vegetables or fruits. And don't forget to always drink enough water. And then we fast for a few hours until 7:30ish, 7:15ish p.m., depending on where you live. Obviously, in Malaysia here, or in the Hidden Leaf village, we usually break fast around that time. So having to eat, being able not to eat for that amount of time, as well as not being able to drink, abstaining from anything that can break our fast, that is basically what dry fasting is. And it is one of, I'm not sure because I've never tried the other forms of fasting, but as a kid until I am now, it was one of the most challenging things that I've gone through in my life. But you know, the most challenging things in your life are actually the most beneficial to you. Alright, so we're hopping into the benefits of fasting. The first one is that, quite contrary to what many people think, fasting actually helps improve your concentration. Now, what happens when you're fasting is basically your sugar level in your blood is being reduced, and you might feel slightly tired and lethargic some at the start of your fast, or maybe certain times within the day of your fast, and that's completely normal, that's completely human, because by not being able to take in food, you're basically reducing the energy level in your body, and that actually makes your body able to actually focus on a higher scale. Because what happens is when you're not taking in too much food, you're not using much energy to digest your food. Now, many people think when you eat food, you'll feel stronger, you'll feel much more alive, which is true, but by actually eating food, you're using calories or energy to break down those food and digest it into your body and your system. By abstaining from eating or drinking, you're actually able to reserve more energy in your body. Of course, with whatever fasting method that you're using, maybe some fasts still allow people to drink, which is fine, which will actually give you some more liquids in your body. Some fasts actually allow people to eat, but not all kinds of food. And some fasts, such as dry fasting, doesn't actually allow you to do any of the two. But what these fasts have in common is basically that whenever you don't take too much food in, you won't use too much energy. So just remember that, and God willingly, you'll be able to reap the benefits of being able to focus on a much higher scale. Now, this will take some time, of course. You need to actually have the mindset as well ingrown in you, where you want to learn, where you want to do something properly, where you want to actually focus and get the job done. And that's your main factor of actually being able to increase your concentration. But by fasting, that action is actually the burden of that action is being lifted, because it actually comes and supplements your efforts to actually improve your concentration. The second point, the cholesterol in your blood is of course reduced. You'll have lower cholesterol in your blood. It's because when you're fasting, your body still needs energy to keep on moving. So what happens is when you don't have enough food in your system, your body will take whatever reserves of fat that you have in your body to actually use that as energy. So that whatever fat reserves that are in your body, depending on how much body fat percentage you have, the level of cholesterol in your blood, your body will use those instead in order to sustain you throughout the day. And this is very good if you're trying to lose weight, and this is basically the process of losing weight, and also for people to gain muscle. But it actually has it might be a bit hard to gain muscle while you're fasting, but with consistency and training, you can actually achieve that. Now, I'm not trying to go off tangent. It is also a good detox for your body. So basically, you know that as human beings, we all release toxins, and these toxins are actually reduced as we fast, because our body is taking a break from eating whatever foods out there. You know, in today's world, there's so many free radicals, so many pesticides, and even vegetables, fruits, or whatever consumable goods that we take in. And to move on, it also improves, fasting also improves our training and endurance. When you fast, basically your body is in a calorific deficit. Basically means that you're able to uh, use less energy while still maintaining whatever amount of training and performance activity that you're trying to achieve. Many athletes out there actually do practice fasting, and most of them have reaped the benefits of such and find that their training and endurance has actually improved. Now, you don't want to always have a moment in the week where you just fast throughout while training and doing any performance activity. But what you want to do is basically implement some days where you fast, and actually some days where you eat quite normally, to actually improve your endurance and training. Now, what I mean by fasting is, depending on whatever fasting you're doing, maybe you're doing some form of keto diet fasting, intermittent fasting, so you only take in foods at certain times of the day, and within that time frame, make sure you don't actually overeat, because that can actually just counterattack the whole point of fasting. So you take in much little calories while still taking in whatever macros you should be. So you take in good carbs, you take in protein, and you take in vegetables, fruits, and whatever minerals are there on those days where you're fasting. And the days where you're just eating normally, you just eat like how you usually would. And there's no harm in actually taking in some good fats, such as cheese, olive oil, or even chocolate once in a while. But if you guys are practicing dry fasting, then an optimal time for you to actually train or practice your workouts would be before sahur, which is basically before sunrise, or before you eat, before the sunrise, basically. So depending on when you live, it just varies on the time. But here in Malaysia, usually that time would be around 4:30 to 5 a.m. So maybe get a good half an hour or 1 hour workout before that time frame, or even eat after you break your fast, which is for Muslims would be 7 or 7:30, around that time. So maybe late at night. It really depends, and especially during Ramadan, the month of fasting for Muslims, that can be a bit hard for us to adjust. But just know that with consistency, just make sure that you can actually put in some time for your workouts and training during the month. Maybe 3 times a week would do if you're still adjusting yourself during that time of the month. And I know I'm talking like Ramadan is close, which is actually still 9 more months. So just to put it out there, a little short reminder before that, you're not relying too much on food to actually work out or go further in your physical training. So basically, with your progressive overload taken into consideration, this can actually help you build a good foundation to starting your calorific deficit journey. So basically having less calories, but at the same time still trying to maintain good muscle, if not adding more. And finally, the most important part, or the most important benefit that you'll get from fasting would be that your spiritual connection with God will be much closer, much stronger. In many religions, speaking from an Islamic perspective, you'll get closer to Allah, you get closer to God, and you'll start to realize like how much you don't actually need to depend on physical things, materialistic things out there. I'm not saying that you shouldn't eat at all, but basically what fasting does is that it helps you to understand that even without food, in today's world, that's basically what we tend to do. We just eat, work, sleep, the 3 things that we usually do. So having this slight time of understanding that we don't actually need to depend wholeheartedly on just food and water, we can actually just leave whatever other materialistic things away for us to actually get closer to God. Because in the Islamic perspective, fasting also does not only mean that you're abstaining from food and water, but it also means that you're abstaining yourself from any negative emotions, abstaining yourself from any prejudice, any jealousy, any anger, impatience, all of those negative things. You're just telling yourself to not get it in your head, and the things that you're chasing in life, basically you just want to cancel all of those things out and make sure that whatever comes out is from your fasting would be your connection to get closer to God. And God tells us in the Quran, the Holy Quran, the holy book of the Muslims and of humanity, basically that when you fast, God pays you directly with whatever good deeds that you have intended to be. Because usually when we do other good deeds, it is the angels that will be jotting down all our good deeds and actually telling God that we are doing this good deed and such. But when you fast, it's a direct connection to God himself, and it is a good practice to start being a much more better person, a much more better human being, in hopes of that we can actually become self-sustainable and also pleased with whatever God has given us. It also teaches us to be much more grateful. As you know, in the month of Ramadan, one of the reasons why why Muslims are commanded to fast is to actually also remind ourselves of whatever tough journeys or the life of those people who are not so well off, the impoverished, people who are living in poverty, and it is a very beautiful act. And on this beautiful day of Ashura, I wish everyone that is fasting to have a good fast, to make sure that you guys put in your prayers today, which is such a beautiful day. Just sharing a bit, basically Ashura means 10th in Arabic, Ashra. Basically the 10th of the first month in the Hijri calendar, not the Gregorian calendar. Muharram is optional and very well advised to fast on this day, to also commemorate and remember the times when our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to go and do the hijrah with his companions. The time when Prophet Moses actually came out as a victor from the chases of Pharaoh, and also the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, and all those other historical events that has happened. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys want to learn how to fast, maybe I can make a separate video on that, show you guys like a little cookbook, what I prepare for my fasting sessions, usually in the morning, what I prepare when I break fast. And of course, the main idea to keep from this is that you want to make sure that you actually still eat, okay? And there's a certain time limit that you fast. You don't want to go, most probably you don't want to go above 3 days of fasting, 4 days, because at the end of the day, your body is still a human body. You still need energy, you still need food, you still need water. I don't know, and I hope this does not oppose to people who just breathe for life. I've never actually taken a reading into that. Maybe I will sometime in the future, God willingly, so I don't know how that works. But basically, and what I understand is that as human beings, we of course need to fill our body with energy, with fuel. And the best type of fuel is of course the best kind of food. So whatever it is, just remember to eat good, meaning you eat right, all of those components, good carbs, good fats, protein, minerals, vitamins, all of those things should be in your diet. Drink plenty of water if you're fasting. Remember, before you start your fast, you have to make sure that you drink plenty of water, and only fast if you can. If you can't fast, then it's okay. There are more activities and practices that you can do out there if you're trying to have better health, that you're trying to incorporate in your exercise. Whatever it is, you just want to make sure that you take into the consideration of listening to your body. So if your body feels that you can't go for the day, then it's okay to break your fast. As Muslims, God will understand, inshallah. And yeah, that's basically it. So thank you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Y'all check out the Ashura outfit. Okay, looking like Drake a bit. And hopefully I will see you guys in an upcoming video in the future. And until then, I'll be seeing you later.
1, 2